World War II was a very bloody war with over 60 million plus deaths. The war started on the 1st of 1939 and ended on September 9th, 1945, with the Japanese surrender. This was a really bad war, and this is the most deadly war ever. On the Allied side was the United States, France, England, Russia, Greece, and Australia. They were the major ones, and it was against Hungary, Romania, Germany, Japan, Italy, and Bulgaria. This was not going to be an easy war and wasn't going to end soon. Hitler first checked parts of Czechoslovakia and then took the whole country. He kept doing this a lot, some other countries. And then once he invaded Poland, England and France joined the war. They started. Germany signed a peace treaty with Russia, but later they abandoned Russia. Germany's hope was to take France and then go back and take Russia. In World War I, this was Germany's ultimate goal, to take Russia, but this never happened. On 1941, December 7th, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, and the United States declared war on Japan. And for no reason, Germany declared war on the United States, which made it worse for Germany. This was the height of the Axis power, when they had the most land. Over the next 3 years, Japan, Italy, and Germany were getting pushed back into their own territory, and Japan's island were being taken by the United States, like Guam and Midway. The 6th of June, 1944, this is D-Day, the biggest land invasion ever. The leaders of the Allied nations thought it'd be easier and the Germans would be caught off guard by landing at Normandy and Utah Beach and other beaches, but they weren't. Germany predicted it. In Normandy, the major landing spot, 425,000 people died on both sides in the battle. Later, Paris was liberated and taken back. Also, Rome was liberated too. In March of 1945, the Allies were moving quickly across the Rhineland and pushing up through Sicily and Italy. They were also pushing through This was the two fronts they were fighting. They had one more too with Russia. Meanwhile, around 1942, a couple years back, the Germans pushed into Russia, and this was Hitler's main chance to take all of Russia. Hitler went too aggressive and made one bad decision: to keep his soldiers in Russia instead of retreating back to get more gear. They stayed there, and a lot of the Germans died. The Russians, after the winter, had came back. They had making lots of new tanks, and they were ready. They pushed back the Germans very quickly. By 1945, the Russians had got to Berlin. Shortly after, the Allies did too. The Germans surrendered, and the Italians did too. Meanwhile, in Japan, had not surrendered yet, and the Manhattan Project was complete. The nukes were ready to send. 3 months later, the United States told Japan, "Surrender now, or else we're sending nukes." They did not. So on the 6th of September, they dropped a nuke and did not surrender. Then 3 days later, they did it again. Japan surrendered. Post-war, after the war, the Allies had half of Germany and half of Berlin. Russia had the other half. Japan was under control from the United States and was put a government that was good, seeing now that they are the third biggest economy and Germany is now the fourth. The two world superpowers after the war were the United States and Russia, and so started the Cold War. I'm sorry this wasn't very in-depth, but this is 4 minutes, so I can't really go any longer. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed.